This is such a huge opportunity to be knowledgeable on. It's
Yeah.
it's it's important. It should be table stakes and it's not. How many agents do you deal with? This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 365 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
Finally, my new modem is back. I had a lot of issues last Tuesday.
I am so glad that that happened in Florida and not up here. Bobby actually told me what was going on, and I'm like, I feel so bad for that internet guy.
Actually, the internet gentleman was very pleasant, solved the problem. But I was on the
Good.
phone with a
You were
guy.
pleasant back?
He was
You were
shooting
pleasant back?
he was shooting lasers at the house or something to try to fix it. Didn't work. Uh, if your modem blows and you can't figure it out, not a good scenario. Anyways,
How old was your modem, though? That seems
it's
like
I don't even want to get into it. It was a year old. Um,
Uh-oh.
the
Okay,
problem has been completely solved at this
good.
point, and we're moving forward. Just
Forward.
as now we are almost a full year post settlement, commissions and compensation have moved forward. Have they moved up, down, or sideways? The Federal Reserve, had actually a report out on it, and they've got some thoughts on where real estate commissions have gone and where they're going in the future. So we've got that report. We've got a realtor.com report on uh, recession concerns. How does the industry feel about the economy and those recession concerns? And then an opportunity, okay, with what's going on with comp, what's going on with the economy. There's always an opportunity. And there's this really robust NAR survey, or not survey, report on
It's
remodeling.
lots.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so listen, if you don't know this about Nicole, this is her domain, remodeling. How many homes have you remodeled over the years?
Oh,
Whether you flipped them or just remodeled them for somebody like me, you've remodeled two of my
I don't
homes, I think,
know.
at least.
It's been over 10 years, so I can't even
I mean,
I don't
dozens and dozens and dozens
yeah.
of remodel projects. She's going through, if you're following her on IG, she's going through a complete remodel of her own personal kitchen right now, and she's been documenting that on her IG stories. She talks about remodeling projects every single week on ABC locally in Connecticut. So this is her domain. We're going to get into how you can use some of the things that are going on with comp, going on with fears on just the whole business model and transactions moving down, and where that opportunity might exist for you. So we'll start with this Federal Reserve report, which reveals U.S. real estate commission rates. I like to use compensation, Nicole, as opposed to the word commission.
Yeah.
But this is their report, so I'll use their word. U.S. real estate commission rates have declined, but modestly, 3% from the late 1990s to about 2.7% today. Nobody gave Ketchmark the information. This report should have came out before. He kept using the 3% number. It's 2.7% today. Despite major policy shifts, including the NAR settlement of last year, local pricing norms and agent behavior continue to shape compensation trends. The report also finds no significant impact from buyer agreements or rebate bans on commission rates. Now, they're declining over the years, but they're declining slowly. What's been the bigger hit since the 90s to today is commission compression due to technology, Zillow, realtor.com, other, referral source sites. Technology has eaten into the compensation because technology does a better job creating leads than agents when we're speaking at scale on the wholes. And so that has kind of chewed into the comp because they're getting their piece by providing the leads, and that's compressed it. Think relocation on steroids across the industry. Okay, now your location matters. New York City, for example, from this Fed report, the median and most common buyer comp is 2%. You could be in areas in Florida, high inventory might be very normal for it to be 3. Okay. Lower price point might be higher. New York City, expensive, a little bit lower. Okay. Like it's all negotiable, Michael. It's all negotiable. It's been negotiable. And market dynamics, locations, where you exist, it all matters. Okay. Zillow and Redfin and these places, they didn't kill anybody's commission. They ate into it because they do a better job than any broker in America creating leads. Okay. So that's the commission compression example that I gave. Now, the buyer agreements have had little impact on the whole, but you are seeing it. Redfin reported, Del Prete reported, University of Buffalo, this federal, you are seeing a few basis points move down. Okay. If you talk to, I did this, Nicole, this morning
Mhm.
for the BAMx role play, which we're doing for members every Tuesday, and every Tuesday at 9 a.m. we do a live role play. And I mentioned it this morning. You have enough of these reports now since August that are showing a few bases, a slight decline, particularly in buyer agent compensation. If you start to talk to brokers that have a significant amount of agents, think 1,000 plus. So,
Mhm.
don't talk to like the little mom and pop in your market that's got 12 agents and 2 of them are producing. Like, have a broker with some scale, have a conversation with them, 1,000 plus agents. They'll tell you, if you carve out their top producing team and maybe a couple of their top producers and you take the rest of the agents, that buyer agent comp is moving down. If you ask agents, it's going to be very mixed because they're basing it on their last 3 deals. Okay. And so that's an anecdotal example and probably not the best case scenario. But Nicole, the best test on this is to put a 0 out for buyer agent compensation. You'll see those numbers come in higher than if you set the number at what a lower number in your market might on the averages be. And if you set it lower, so this is seller strategy here. If you set it lower, the buyer agents are just naturally reducing. And so this is kind
For
of
sure.
one of those things where the negotiation is working out. Um, it also is providing a lot of opportunity. There are some, like our team, Nicole, has gone the other direction. If you've got more value, people will pay for it. I'll pay more for a steak at Capital Grill than I will at Ruby Tuesdays. Okay. I'll pay a lot more at other.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm getting a steak at Ruby Tuesdays actually at all,
I
but
think they have stay. I haven't been to a Ruby's in years, but hey guys, thanks so much for checking out this week's pod. I'm going to get you right back in a second. If you want to join us in the fastest growing real estate community, one that delivers you content every single week to use in your database, has your back and makes this business fun, join us inside of School. It's BAMx, school.com/BAMx, the fastest growing community in real estate on the best platform for training and community. No Facebook spam. Go to school.com/BAMx. I'll drop a link down below. Enjoy the rest of the pod. What's another example? There's plenty of examples of that. Okay.
of course.
Like, heck, I'd rather pay more. I'd rather make my own burger at home, get grass fed, pay more for the beef and make a good quality burger than go to Burger King. So value, quality, that's the direction that we've decided to go with our team, is understanding what is the competition off. It's just basic analysis of what everybody else offers and what do you offer for your services, and you can move your comp up, down, or sideways based on that. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Fed says the real disruption could be ahead. Obviously, there's no more advertising comp, which confuses a lot of agents still today. And that's why, without that advertisement, without it baked into the cake for them, some are still struggling.
Struggling. Yeah.
And
Or they get really upset if the seller isn't offering anything out.
because they can't think that there's no
Yeah.
problems, there's no creative solution going on upstairs for some. It's unfortunate. You got to have a process on this. I mean, I tell agents all the time, don't listen to what the offer is. It's irrelevant. Contract it with your buyer and write it into the offer if you're going to be looking for seller to help itemize those finances. Or if it's just the buyer pay, then you already have it. You don't have to worry about it. Or if there's a combination of both, you got to work it into the deal as well in that scenario. But because people are agents are relying so much on knowing what it is, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Negotiate your deal. And again, if you're a BAMx member, you missed what we talked about this morning. You can catch that replay inside of school. So I want to, before we get to the remodeling stuff, which is really your expertise, Nicole, if comp is moving down for a lot of agents, they either got to do more deals or find more areas of expertise and value. There's a lot of things that support a real estate transaction, remodeling being one of them, to find revenue for their business. Okay. So if you can't get it all out of comp and you can't hold up your value on comp, what are the other opportunities? That's where we're going to go with the remodeling report in a second. But here's the other thing, realtor.com. And this is actually visitors of the site. So not the agent community. I misspoke earlier. Visitor survey in Q1. And Haley will put this up. We're at 63.4%. It's the highest level since interest rates started going up. On concerns of recession, Nicole, customers and clients that you're working with, I get, like, Connecticut's a little bit different, low inventory.
Such low inventory.
Number 50 out of 50 state, the lowest. Okay. And so buyers are already concerned that they're overpaying. Is there concerns of the economy that are getting wrapped into those concerns of just like, am I overpaying because I'm competing? Is it like double worrisome with where the future of the economy is heading, or are you not seeing that as much?
I mean, personally, I'm not seeing anybody hesitate currently because of that. No. But I'm maybe at like a different like price point, but I'm not seeing anybody personally hesitating because of their concerns over
So
it.
your average price point's probably up over $1 million, but we had a buyer who came in second on half that, a little bit more than half that average price. Say your average is $1 million, 400s. Lee from the team was working with the buyer and they came in second place, and the buyer in first backed out and said it was due to, they used the word political concerns. I just call that
Yeah.
economic concerns.
Yep.
Dave Ramsey, what's happening in the White House doesn't affect your house, but
No.
politics is one way to say just the overall economy. That being said, Realtor.com, and Haley will put this up, nearly 30% of homebuyers said a recession would make them more likely to buy. So some buyers are saying, hey, I'm waiting for opportunity. I think the opportunity's now. When people are stuck, they're indecisive. Just think about that stat. 30% of buyers said, hey, they're more likely to buy if the recession doesn't come, okay, what happens?
Yeah. They
Price
just lost all this time.
right now, when there's indecision in a lot of markets, unlike, ours, Nicole, like the market I'm sitting in, there's so much indecision because there's so much inventory. This is the time to start negotiating. If you don't get your win because the seller's not ready to realize the reality of what's going on here, you move on to the next one. Options are plentiful. Buyers are slow in this market because too many
They
options.
can be.
Well, and too many options just create like, should I buy? Like, where's
Yeah.
the bottom? How far is it going to
Right.
go? So all these things are impacting their decisions, and that's basically what the survey finds. So indecision is creating a lower transaction count. That's going to be here to stay for the foreseeable future. Rates are high. You got comp maybe moving at best for you sideways. So less sales, maybe less comp, or at best case sideways on less sales. there's opportunities in every market. This NAR report, 2025 Remodeling Impact report, to me highlights one of the biggest opportunities that agents don't pay attention to. Americans spent an estimated $603 billion in 2024 remodeling their homes. There was 1.6 billion plus or something like that, trillion, I'm sorry, like 1.6 trillion plus on compensation available. If that's moving sideways or down and less people are moving, well, this 603 billion spent on remodel in 24 has room to grow, in my opinion. Nicole, very few agents can articulate, like you can, the right decisions to make in a remodeling, when to do it, how to do it, realistic timeline, how to shorten the timeline if you're living in the house, what you should pick if it's not going to be the forever home, or even when you say
Yeah,
it's the forever home, sometimes in 5 years, or like
it's not
me,
the forever
like
home.
me, when you remodel my home, usually in 5 months, it becomes not the forever home anymore.
Not the
And,
forever home.
and I want to sell it. So you got to pick the right materials and the right colors if there's any chance that it might become the non-forever home. And I'll say out of that 603 billion that was spent on remodeling, I'm just throwing something against the wall here. I'd say more than half of it was spent foolishly because homeowners make really bad decisions on a remodel. In terms of what they pick, they make bad decisions on who they hire. They haven't, it's the only time they've ever done a remodel.
Well, because they probably had some equity and then they were like, "Woo woo."
Yeah. And it's the only
Mhm.
time they've ever done a remodel, as opposed to using an agent who is their expertise, like you, is in remodeling. Nicole, you mentioned the equity.
Yeah,
It's interesting. Over 50%. Um, I'm looking for the I'm looking for the number. Here it is. To pay
56 or something?
Yeah, to pay for the project out of this report, 54% of consumers use a home equity loan or line of credit to remodel. Only 29% use savings, 10% use credit cards. So you could say 64% when you add up credit card and home equity loan line of credit, 64% financed their remodel. And sometimes when you finance, not for everybody, but sometimes for some, it feels like, oh, this is like
Free.
free, but it's like I go on a shopping spree. They go out there
Mhm.
and pick stuff they like, not what makes sense. They end up overpaying. And here's the opportunity. You call up a Nicole White and you say, I'm going to give you 3% of the total I'm going to give you there's $600 billion here, guys, available. I'd rather pay a Nicole White to come in and make the decisions, the right decisions, and you know, be able to communicate, speak the language with a contractor. Nicole, what are the biggest mistakes that people are making on these remodel projects that you're seeing?
The biggest mistakes?
Yeah.
I feel like, well, I guess I guess it depends mostly. I think that there's 2 sort of mistakes. I think, 'cause I'm hearing what you're talking about, but I do think that part of some people's mistakes too are that they are almost too worried about the resale of it sometimes, where they're not picking things that, like, speak to them, and I'm sort of seeing that in this article too, because I'm actually surprised at the amount of people that aren't happy about the remodel once it's done. Cause like, I like, my heart is so happy, I can't even like put into words. So I do think that some people that are making these mistakes, they're almost not thinking about themselves. Where, hey, instead of maybe worrying so much about like the trend and if it's worth me doing it, does that make sense? Like,
Well,
do it because it's gonna like benefit you.
yeah,
So I think that's one side. But I'm hearing you
I
on
think
the on
that there's a middle ground to that
absolutely.
because a purple wall speaks to you. That's really dumb that
Well,
speaks to you. I mean, I get paint. You can just remove paint, but
Well, I'd rather a purple wall than purple
Well, that's what I
cabinets,
guess what
so
I'm
that would
getting
be a
at. Yeah.
mistake. So there I mean, there are I mean, I a purple wall is super easy for me to tell them to repaint it.
N
9 times out of 10, I'm telling everyone to repaint their houses anyway. So, I mean, if it is a purple wall, it's much better than a purple cabinet.
so finishes, I get it. I get where you're going with finishes, right? And, some of those things can be paint color, let it speak to you, all of that kind of stuff. Here's another area people make a mistake. And Nicole, you talk a lot about the finishes, obviously, on your TV show on ABC every single week. Here's an opportunity for agents that there's very few agents doing this. Haley, can you pull up Nicole? I don't know if you're following her. Ellie Ridge Realtor.
Ellie?
Ellie EI. Oh no, Ellie ELLIE Ridge RIDGE
Okay.
Realtor. She's got 235,000 on Instagram. But if Haley, if you can pull her up and show the screen so Nicole can look at the screen. This agent is, if you go through and you scroll down on what she's got,
Yeah.
she's talking about the construction,
She's behind. Yeah, I love it. Like,
wood
behind the walls.
wood boring beetles, foundation cracks. Look at Nicole. Look at this one where the vaulted ceiling is. The highest yield for home improvement. The last house that that one there, she's talking about what's going to yield you more money on the renovation. And it's that vaulted ceiling. It's not putting in a pool. It's not getting a hot
No.
tub. The hot tub might speak to you when you're drinking champagne.
Mhm.
It might speak to a lot of other things too, but it's not speaking to increasing the value of the home like a vaulted ceiling is. When I redid my Connecticut house, or when I bought it and Nicole, you did the renovation.
I vaulted your
You're like, we're
ceilings.
vaulting the ceilings. And I'm like, that
Yeah,
sounds
we did.
expensive. And you're like, this
Mm,
will be, out of everything we're doing,
huge.
this will be the single biggest decision you can make for the value of your home going forward. Little ranch, um, little ranch in Connecticut, short ceilings.
Such short ceilings.
When you
Yeah.
vaulted the ceilings in the main living space, it makes the house feel like a completely different place.
And bigger. It makes it feel bigger. That's the most important part of that is ways that you can make your home feel larger without actually doing, like, an addition. Yeah.
More, it makes
That
it
was
feel more luxury, more
yeah.
upscale. It makes it feel a lot more expensive than had we
Well,
not
and
done it.
lighting. Think about how many buyers go into homes and, like, they make decisions based on light or, like, it feels dark or it feels cramped. It's all about the way that it makes them feel. So, no, that was, like that was a non-negotiable on that house.
The listen, I want my house to feel very expensive because then it's going to feel expensive when I go to sell it for a buyer and they're going to
Yeah.
pay me a higher number. And the I would have never made that decision on my own. The contractor we had was a, like, show me the plays and I'll run them. It
Yeah.
couldn't think outside the box type. Like, there's some contractors that are really good being creative.
Yeah.
And that there are some that are just going to, like, show me the playbook and I'll run the
Yeah.
plays. And here's where the opportunity sits for agents to know, like what Ellie Ridge Realtor does. She knows the plays to run. She
Yeah.
knows how to
Well,
explain
yeah.
the construction side. Nicole knows how to explain it. It's really attractive to people who are thinking about selling, thinking about renovating. It starts conversations. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, and it starts building, like, your future business too. I mean, I've been brought into lots of homes that they're not even necessarily thinking about selling. Um, but again, 5 years later, they called, they're like, "Remember when you helped me pick out, like, the bathroom color for my bathroom? Like, now we wanna sell." So you're still definitely building up trust for, like, future business with it as well, for
I
sure.
was much better off paying for you and your family of five's flights to St. John than I was making these decisions on my own. Like,
Yeah.
if I would have made the decisions on my own in the place, like, I'm probably above average on, figuring out some of like where things should go and that kind of thing. But I didn't see that. I didn't see what you saw in the Volt. That one decision alone was
Well,
tens
we
and tens of
relocated
thousands,
your
if not a hundred
kitchen. We
thousand in
relocated
equity.
your kitchen too. I mean,
That was
we
you.
did it. We moved and we got rid of a fireplace. But no, yeah, no, it's a lot of people can't unfortunately see, and sometimes I can't see it either. So it is always good to like have another set of eyes on it just to like look through it, or and there might just be sometimes like a really like simple tweak that like opens up like Pandora's like box of like it's like, yeah, no,
And
you definitely need
sometimes
additional.
you got to keep looking at it. You do the reno, or you start the reno rather. You get behind the walls, and now other things present itself that you didn't think were a possibility before. And so you got to keep. It's not you look at it once, and that's
No.
to me where the opportunity is. If you're going to be an agent that's going to provide that higher level of service, you're going to keep looking at that. Nicole loves it. She'll keep going back looking and look. So hey, if 64% of your customers, your clients, not past clients, but your clients are financing this, they can make a lot of mistakes. They can spend a
Yeah.
lot of money off of what they think they need at the time. And then when they go to, they realize I'm not getting it all. I
Yeah.
didn't make the right decision, not just on fit. Because Nicole's point is if the finishes speak to you, you can change the finishes. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, some people like long dresses, some people like short dresses, whatever. If the dress doesn't fit at some point, you buy a new dress. So,
Right.
it's really like the work of like hitting the gym is what like you can, that takes longer to change. Doing that infrastructure work is really important. Listen, who did the work in this report? Only 29% hired a professional to help do. That's why you look at so many renovations and they're like, they didn't get the value out of it.
Yeah.
24% completely did everything themselves. And then they wonder why. And here's the other problem. Now they're emotionally attached to the work that they did because they did the work, but they didn't do it well. Too many
Or
DIY
it took
shows.
so much longer. No wonder why they're not feeling joyful afterwards, because they probably lost a year of their life doing it themselves.
How much prep work did you do? If you're following Nicole on IG, um, Nicole White Realtor CT, what is it right now?
Nicole White CT.
Nicole White.CT on IG. It's linked
Yeah.
below. If you'll see in the stories that she's putting up every day. I mean, the kitchen's almost done. You're under 30 days. How much prep
Mhm.
work did you do to hit it? People can do a kitchen renovation that'll last for 4 months. They're living in a complete disaster zone. How much prep work did you do to figure out like I want to hit a 30-day target and be out of this thing? Agents, we all want and need more listings. We want to be able to capture the business from our clients. So it means we need to stay in front of them, front and center when they're thinking about real estate, when they're making a real estate decision. So I love what Reminder Media is doing for agents across the country, producing high quality physical and digital magazines where you can tell a full story about what's going on in your community, what's happening in the market, and reminding people that you are the expert that they should be reaching out to when it comes to making a real estate decision. Reminder Media is a resource that you need in your corner to stay in front of your clients. You also get a free sample magazine by using the link that I'll put right down below. Check out Reminder Media and everything that they have to offer you and helping you stay in front of your clients.
Well, yeah, honestly, my biggest deadline is my daughter graduating high school. So I've told everybody that they need to be out of my house by June 13th, because like I'm like my daughter's graduating. So I mean, I definitely started the prep probably like in like, man, I mean, I've been obsessing about this forever, but probably closer to like November or December. Mostly because I knew what I wanted for my cabinets. Like I didn't do all of my cabinets, like some of them I did two different kinds, but I really wanted a white oak island, and I knew that the only way for me to do that was I was going to have to order it at least, take 6 weeks to get in, and I wanted it to actually arrive when it was like time to install the cabinet. So I think I ordered that back in like January, February, but we didn't even start knocking down walls till April. So um but everything fed into the next. Like I didn't have any windows in my kitchen and I knew I really needed a window. So I picked my window first to make sure that my kitchen could then be like built around that window.
That's something
And
people
again, I knew
only
that that window
know.
was going to take 3 or 4 weeks. So I wanted to make sure that that was in so that that could be one of the first things that went in so that like I could start seeing
And
sort of like the vision come to
it's
life.
an easy mistake to make. I want a new window. I want more light in my kitchen. I'll figure the window out later. Then you're stuck with limited options
No,
because,
yeah.
so that's the
My cabinet layout was built around this damn window.
right. I mean, that's the thing. You knew based off of doing this so many times, hey, we in this particular situation, we got to build around the window.
Yeah.
Listen, what you're doing, what Ellie Ridge Realtor, if you haven't checked
I'm
her out,
excited to start following
oh, it's
her.
unbelievable the depth of knowledge. And to me, how many agents this is where there's a huge opportunity as our industry changes and evolves. This is such a huge opportunity to be knowledgeable on. It's
Yeah.
it's it's important. It should be table stakes and it's not. How many agents do you deal with or have met? And you know, listen, I get it. It'd be nice if every agent was a homeowner, has actually been through the process, but they don't even, at the very least, don't even know how a house runs and functions
Yeah.
and what happens during a renovate. Like, it's shocking. Like, knowing how to log into the MLS doesn't make us great agents.
No.
And
I think
so
where it's really important too, especially like in the environment that we're in right now with like insurance too. I mean, it is so important for you to now even just kind of know about roof, like the roof and the age and like the
pe-
cost of a roof
people are
and
getting
like,
turned down because
because
the
there's
roof's too old.
that's what I'm saying. So at the very least, let's just maybe talk to an insurance person and figure out what it is that maybe you'll need to know because there's going to be a lot of surprises for you on some homes that you weren't necessarily especially homes that were built, like I feel like in our area we have a lot of homes that were built in like 2000. That was 25 years ago. So there's things that are going to start sort of popping up where at the very least like let's know that,
Yeah.
you know?
So, a
So
little bit of a different conversation on this pod. I know we've spent a lot of time on,
mhm.
these industry decision, brokerage decision, NAR decisions. I mean, these are three reports, one from the Fed, one from realtor.com, one from NAR, that when you connect them together, to me, like, where are the opportunities? Build your knowledge around that. Um,
Yeah.
so take it for what you will. I'd be thinking about this stuff all the time. I'd be thinking of how do I create more revenue streams outside of just the comp, because it's going to move sideways at best long term. Now, it's going to move up for some of us, but
For some of
not
us.
all of us.
Let's go.
All right, there's your real word. Let us know what you think in the comments, and follow Nicole. She posts a lot of this stuff.
The countertops come this week, so we're like in the final stretch.
Interesting decision on the countertops.
You're having a really hard time
I'm
with it. You're
having a
like my
really
husband.
hard time
You're having a hard time with it.
based on the advice you've given everybody over the years on what countertops to put in.
I'm going against the grain. I am.
I was
I'm putting in the
shocked when you told me
marble.
that
I
last
can't
night.
wait. Oh.
So follow Nicole if you want to find out about these countertops. And she's gonna have to put up some kind of explanation on IG. So, all
Uh-oh.
right, let us know what you think in the comments. Is this an opportunity? And at the very least, get educated on this stuff. If you're not, you're going to become more valuable to your clients. So there you go. Keep it real, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.